Today I'd like to continue the discussion on Intel. Not so much because I'm focused on Intel. I think Intel has now become an example of the old world versus the new world. The old world, as you know, I believe ended in 2019. We're now in the new world as the supply chains are redone. Intel has now become a perfect example in my mind of what's going on. So I've repinned my two videos on Intel at the top here. So you can go back and look at them. And today we're going to talk about the new news that's been coming out on Intel since the last video. The first thing that came out was Apple is now rumored to be considering buying Intel as a chip maker. And this article, which I will put in the comments so you can go see it, read it yourself, is very interesting. They say they went off of Taiwan Semiconductor and Samsung, too close to China, which is basically what we've been saying. And that they have taken the new chips from the new ASML machine that no one else has but Intel, and they've worked through them and they find them acceptable. And in fact, Apple has indicated that they're going to use this chip in all their devices. So this is just another thing. And then people are like, Apple's going to take them over. Now this needs to be discussed, okay? So if Apple is allowed to buy Intel, they'll be a vertical producer, right? So Intel is the only vertically integrated chip manufacturer that we have. And then when you put Apple on top of them, Apple would be in a commanding position if, and I say if, something happened with Taiwan and Samsung, right? And so as a country, I believe we should be supporting strongly that we need to be building our own chips at scale, okay? So we're a few years away from that, but Intel is the first step. So today there's a big article in the tech industry that Intel may be too big to fail, and Washington policymakers are already discussing potential solutions if the chip maker cannot recover. And they say that these discussions are preliminary, okay, because they just did have a pretty strong report, and the stock went up a little bit, but it's still way down, okay? And they point out that although AMD and NVIDIA, semiconductor giants in their own rights, are also American companies, Intel is the only one that both designs and manufactures chips. Intel is the only American company that designs and manufactures leading-edge chips. It's playing a critical role in enabling a globally competitive semiconductor ecosystem in the United States. And it goes on to say that if Intel goes, then we are totally reliant on Taiwan Semiconductor and Samsung. And there's also something else here. One, Intel employs 120,000 people, aiming after their 16,000 layoff. And by the way, they export $40 billion a year in product. So they are an important company. Now the article goes on to mention, like in my videos, that Qualcomm and ARM are all looking to take a piece of Intel, if not the whole thing. And because they now want to secure, control their chips. So remember, what's the difference between the old world and the new world? The old world was, where's the lowest price? Where can I go get it and have it shipped? In the new world, how can we control and secure our supply? That's number one, not price. Secure and control. And that's what the government is talking about here. What are they going to do? So what does this mean to us? Well, look, there's no way that we can let Intel go down. But with the government involved and the stakes being as high as they are, in my personal opinion, they're very, very high. There's no way we can allow one company, a Qualcomm or an ARM or NVIDIA or anybody to control Intel. I think that if I was the government, this is just my point of view, I have no articles to back me up, nothing whatsoever. If I was the government, I would form a consortium of all the chip companies and say, what do you want in on? I mean, Qualcomm said they'll give $5 billion to Intel. Several other companies said $3, $5, or $10 billion they give to Intel. And this is all so they can have access to those chips. So think about that. As a U.S. government, we don't want Apple to take Intel and then Apple hold everybody else up if Taiwan's semiconductor goes down, all right? So that would be the worst situation whatsoever. Government picked the winner and then supported it because of the CHIPS Act. We're going to give them a lot of money. So I think the government forms a consortium, all the chip manufacturers on the second end, not on building the chip end, which is only Intel. They all come together and they take a piece of Intel. And thereby our companies then are supplied through Intel. And they can buy them from Taiwan while they can, and Samsung or whatever, right? But we need this in our country, okay, period. So Intel is too big to fail. Like we said, the Bomar syndrome is Intel is too big to fail. So how do we work this out? What do you think? What's the end game here? Because it's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon in my mind. So what do you think? Like and follow, and certainly comment in the comment page.